From surviving childhood fame to family problems and unhealthy competition between Macaulay and Kieran Culkin, here's how the two brothers grew under drastically different conditions. For many, fame would be a blessing, but for the Culkin brothers it was more like poison, and it affected Macaulay Culkin the most, since he acted in Home Alone when he was only 10. Then, at 12, Macaulay got roles in movies like Richie Rich and The Good Son, finally making him a young millionaire. And without even knowing, the Culkin family started to fully rely on Macaulay's money and fame as he became the breadwinner of their home. At the time, Macaulay made an average of £6 million per film, which was a big change for the normal family, and Kieran had little idea of the big changes happening with his elder brother Macaulay. Culkin's parents were poor before Macaulay started doing the films, as the father Kit worked in a parish church after acting didn't work out for him, while the mother, Patricia, had a job at a call centre. While describing the terrible situation of the Culkins, the casting director of Home Alone, Billy Hopkins, said, "They were so poor I had to use my own money to make sure that he got to and from rehearsal." Macaulay would crawl under the bleachers at the theatre to look for change that had fallen out of people's pockets. Before the Culkins started looking well off, the family of 2 parents and 7 kids lived in a tiny apartment described as a hallway with no doors and only one bathroom without a lock. So privacy wasn't a thing, as their parents kept adding more babies to the growing family. And so when Macaulay started earning big, getting a suitable house for the family was the first thing the parents went for. And of course it was a big benefit to Kieran Culkin and the other siblings, except they faced less pressure than Macaulay did. Sadly, Macaulay didn't enjoy much family stability in the new home, as his parents separated 4 years into Macaulay's big break. Kit and Patricia, who were already married for about 20 years at the time, headed for divorce. And another nightmare started for Macaulay as he saw how his parents fought to get custody of him. To win custody of Macaulay, the parents went deep into damaging arguments, as Patricia called Kit a drunk, and Kit called her a terrible business person who would fail in managing Macaulay if given custody, while denying what Patricia said about him. It was a silly experience for the family, as the parents fought for Macaulay only due to the advantages that he brings and neglected the other children to go with whoever they wanted. And this situation was just as unfair to Kieran as to Macaulay. Then it got crazy, because Macaulay took charge of his fate and sued his parents for £13 million when he became 15. And he won the case of dropping his parents from being legal guardians, which removed them from the right to access Macaulay's wealth. So Macaulay later explained the drama between him and his parents at such a young age by calling his father a victimizer who terrorized him physically and mentally. Macaulay explained his father's jealousy of his achievements, saying, "Everything he tried to do in life, I excelled at before I was 10 years old." His father later mentioned that he no longer considered him a son, leaving him without better guidance on managing his growing wealth. And the unfortunate situation of how Macaulay mishandled himself started from here. But Kieran didn't know much about Macaulay's struggles until he was old enough to see that they caused him so much damage. Macaulay explained that his family did more damage to him than the media. In an interview with The Guardian in 2000, Macaulay complained that he didn't grow up as he would have liked because his parents were deaf to his worries and concerns. According to Macaulay, he was trying to tell his mum what he would like to do one summer at the end of the school year, and his mother told him not to have any plans of his own because he might be working. Then Macaulay later found out that his parents already signed his acting contracts. While speaking more about the issue in 2020 with Esquire, Macaulay said, "It started feeling like a chore. I started vocalizing that and not being heard. I was saying, I want to go to school. I haven't done a full year of school since 1st grade. At 18, with more than enough fortune and able to make critical decisions by himself, Macaulay decided to marry Rachel Miner, who was 17. The pair only married for about 3 years before divorcing in 2002. Then after his divorce, Macaulay started looking like a shadow of his former self, as rumours sparked about his use of substances. Although Macaulay never spoke about what led to the divorce, Rachel revealed that some things happened in the marriage, as she mentioned that their breakup was terrible. But she mentioned that it was her fault that they were no longer together, because she did some unbelievable things and she knew she had to do better when she became single. In 2016, Macaulay went to talk on reports that he said he was taking too much illegal substances, and he said that he wasn't doing that much. However, immediately after his marriage broke up, Macaulay started dating Mila Kunis, and they were both together from 2002 to 2011. The child star, who's now 42 years old, has finally found some stability after so many years, and he's now in a relationship with Brenda Song, and they have 2 kids. The way Macaulay's life went downhill before picking himself up is very different from how Kieran lived, even though they were from the same family. Kieran didn't have much of a choice when deciding his career, as he joined in on acting as well, since it's the profession that changed everything for the Culkins. Kieran may not have been seen much in their younger days, but he was usually by Macaulay's side as they attended events together. So, unlike Macaulay, a natural at acting, Kira was made to follow in his shadow. Kieran explained it, saying, "It was never something I pursued or properly chose to do. Maybe when I was about 5 or 6, I said, I want to be an actor. I was unsure what I wanted to do, which I think is normal. I just struggled with that for a long time." So even though Kieran wasn't as popular as Macaulay, he also took on roles in films like Father of the Bride and The Cider House Rules, while Macaulay rose in his career. And the crazy thing is that Kieran also had the same bad experience with their parents as Macaulay did, and he said that their show business was more important to their parents than their education, as he and Macaulay didn't graduate high school. However, Kieran sees their father differently than Macaulay, even though he still considers him a horrible father. Kieran said he wouldn't term their dad physically and mentally vindictive, but he was glad to see him gone. Although Kieran wasn't at the centre of attention and hardly knew much about Macaulay's predicament, at 8 years of age, Kieran got to witness a few of the awful sides to fame that Macaulay dealt with after featuring in Home Alone. As far as Kieran remembered, a taxi once followed them, and he saw a fan approach Macaulay to tell him that he wasn't that cute. Kieran said, "Fame is not a nice thing. I think well-adjusted smart people that experience it first or second hand wouldn't pursue it." However, Kieran knew it was a damaging experience for Macaulay, as he called him a poor guy growing up. It was a messy experience for Kieran during their parents' divorce too, even though their parents weren't fighting for him but for Macaulay. And Kieran remembered his little contribution was writing to the court to help keep the media away from their home. Kieran's handwritten note to the court read, "Your Honour, I ask you, please, to spare my family any further embarrassment by letting the press in the courtroom. It has already been hard on us, and I see no point to it." Unlike Macaulay, who had his big break in the early 90s, Kieran's career didn't start blowing up until 2002, when he acted in Igby Goes Down. And the interesting twist is that he almost lost the role because the director, Burr Steers, didn't think he was the right fit after trying for the lead role 3 times. In anger, Kieran replied to the director by saying he looked like crap, which made Burr impressed and gave him the role that landed him a Golden Globe nomination. So Kieran didn't have any problems with fame, as he went on to have a normal acting career without taking any dangerous substances to get over the pressure of being a celebrity like his brother. And from 2018 till now, Kieran has starred as Roman Roy in the hit series Succession. The Culkin brothers may not have had much in common, but they have the same siblings and suffered the same passing of their sister, Dakota Culkin, at the age of 30. And Kieran mentioned that he owed the success of his role in Succession to Dakota, who inspired some of the ways that Roman behaved in the series. The other difference between the Culkin brothers is their love life, as Kieran didn't get into an early marriage like his brother Macaulay did. And also, Kieran didn't suffer a divorce, as well as he met his wife, Jazz Charlton, in 2012 at a New York bar. Kieran mentioned that he asked to date Jazz that night, and they've been together ever since. So just like Macaulay, Kieran, who is now 40 years old, also has 2 children with his wife. So, is it fair that Macaulay and Kieran grew up under different desperate conditions despite being brothers? Share your thoughts in the comments, and thanks for watching.